Once upon a time, in a quiet little mountain village named Sonapur, nestled between green hills and flowing rivers, lived an old woman known to everyone as Grandma Nira. Her wrinkled face always wore a peaceful smile, and her eyes sparkled like the stars as if they held the secrets of 1,000 lifetimes. The people of Sonapur often came to her not for medicines or money, but for comfort. Her presence was like sunlight on a cloudy day, warm, calm, and full of hope. Children would sit by her feet to hear her tales. Adults sought her guidance when life felt heavy, and even strangers felt lighter just by speaking to her. Yet behind her soothing aura was a life woven with sorrow, hardship, and choices that shaped her into the wise woman she had become. Many years ago, Nira had lived a life full of dreams. She was a young woman, deeply in love with her husband, and together they raised 2 lovely daughters in a small but cozy home. They weren't wealthy, but joy filled their hearts. Every evening, the family would gather by the fire, sharing food, laughter, and stories. Life was imperfect, but it was beautiful, until the storm arrived. One winter, her husband fell seriously ill. With very little money and no proper doctors in the village, Nira tried everything she could: home remedies, prayers, borrowed coins from neighbors, but nothing worked. He passed away quietly one night, leaving Nira broken, lost, and alone to care for 2 small children. Her world collapsed. In the days that followed, Nira stopped speaking. Her eyes were dry, but her soul wept. There were moments she didn't want to wake up at all. She questioned everything: life, fairness, and even the meaning of love. The village watched helplessly, worried they had lost the Nira they once knew. But one morning, something small changed everything. Her younger daughter, barely 5, picked up a butterfly that had landed on her hand and ran to her mother with a giggle. That innocent smile, untouched by pain, reminded Nira that life still had beauty, even in loss. That was the moment she realized something powerful. Pain is real, but so is healing. Grief is natural, but staying broken is a choice. From that day forward, she made a silent vow. She could not control what happened to her, but she would control how she responded. She began to notice the little things: the morning dew on the grass, the laughter of her daughters, the smell of fresh rain. She whispered to herself, "This moment is mine. I will not let sadness steal it." Each day she found one reason, just one, to feel grateful. Some days it was hard. On some mornings she had to search deeply, but she never gave up. Over the years, this habit turned into a lifestyle, and her grief slowly melted into peace. Nira didn't teach this lesson with words, but with her life. The villagers began to observe. They noticed how she smiled through the rain, how she offered food even when she had little, how she never complained. A young man named Ravi, who had been struggling with depression and anger, once came to her simply to sit in silence. Something about her presence made his heart lighter. He began visiting her more, observing her routines, how she rose with the sun, cared for her garden, helped others, and kept a small notebook where she wrote one happy thing every evening. Inspired by her, Ravi tried it too. Slowly, his world changed. He started smiling again. He stopped blaming life for everything. Others in the village followed. Without giving a single speech, Grandma Nira had started a quiet revolution. Years passed, and Sonapur became a village of smiles. It wasn't that problems disappeared. People still lost jobs, crops still failed, and loved ones still got sick. But the difference now was in how people handled these storms. Instead of falling apart, they leaned on each other. They searched for light in the darkness. And every time someone felt hopeless, they would remember Nira's life and say to themselves, "If she could choose happiness, so can I." On her 90th birthday, the entire village gathered to celebrate the woman who had taught them the greatest lesson: that happiness isn't something that happens to you, it's something you choose from within. They lit lanterns and let them float into the sky, each one carrying a wish, a prayer, or a thank you. Grandma Nira sat quietly, watching the glowing lights rise above the mountains, a gentle tear running down her cheek. Not a tear of sorrow, but of joy, the kind that comes from knowing you have lived a meaningful life. In the heart of Sonapur, her story remained. Not just as a tale told by children, but as a truth lived by generations. A truth that no matter how hard life gets, there is always something worth holding on to. Hope, gratitude, and the simple choice to smile.